Welcome back. I'm so happy you have joined me. Okay, so let me start by doing just a little bit of what feels like housekeeping. So, as you know, there's been a lot of shifts, a lot of changes behind the scenes for me personally, and of course, for the EQ code professionally. We have brought human design into our fold, into our world. We are creating so many new offers and so many new programs that really allow the incredible women that we work with to leverage human design and master their emotional intelligence so that we can really learn how to unlock the life, the business, and the relationships that we desire. So my intention, now that some of the dust has settled, if you will, from all of the transitions that have been happening, my intention is to be a little bit more consistent with the podcast. So, what that's going to look like moving forward, I always find that the fall is the season for shifts and changes and transitions and grounding into sort of where we're headed for the last quarter of the year. So, what that's going to look like for the podcast is what I'd like to do is deliver two really awesome episodes for you per month. So, we are going to look at releasing two podcast episodes for you every single month. The intention right now is that those podcast episodes are released the first week and the third week of every single month. So, just pay attention, look out for those. I promise you, I will get back into a groove and a rhythm. I actually really crave structure. So it has felt a little bit unsettled for me as well. As much as I've liked the flow and the flexibility and the space to be able to make these shifts myself, and I really needed this level of fluidity in order to get to this place of clarity personally and professionally. Um, my soul is now ready for a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more structure. And so we're going to be bringing that into the podcast. I am so appreciative of each and every one of you that is part of the audience that listens to Confessions of an Ex Therapist. I love it when you reach out to me, share your feedback, make comments, all the things. So please don't stop doing that. I am really, really excited about delivering content that is a little bit more focused. And so here's what that will look like. My hope is to deliver podcast episodes, to deliver content that is structured in three particular areas that I have found that the integration between human design and emotional intelligence are really important. And in fact, these are the areas of my own life that I have integrated human design and emotional intelligence. So, I'm going to be sharing content with regards to human design as it integrates with emotional intelligence in order to improve your relationships. Of course, I'm going to talk about that. We'll also talk about this. In a way that will help you to just improve your overall life. And the third area is your business, of course. And so today's episode is the first episode in a series of episodes all around the integration of human design with emotional intelligence in business. And the topic that I really want us to talk about today is one related to your audience growth, to your business growth, how you're connecting to your audience, how your audience perceives you, how your audience experiences you, what they feel from you before you even open your mouth. I think this is a really important topic, and I'm excited to share it with you today. So, what I want to talk about is something called energy entanglement. Okay, energy entanglement. What I'd love to know right off the bat, if you're listening, well, first finish listening or watching this episode, and then reach out to me over on Instagram at the EQ code and let me know if this is a new concept for you or if you have heard this concept before. So, energy entanglement is something that happens for us when we take an action in order to manipulate an outcome. Okay, when we take an action in order to manipulate an outcome. So, I'm going to be talking about this concept as it relates to your business, but I want you to know that this concept absolutely impacts your relationships. And maybe I'll do another episode on energy entanglement in relationships because I think that's important as well. But let me stay on topic here. So, energy entanglement happens when we take an action in order for us to get a particular outcome, to get a certain result. We basically do something so that something else can happen. So, what happens is instead of our energies or energetic frequencies remaining separate and remaining in integrity in terms of what they're designed to do, what we desire to call in, these energies actually become entangled. It's like we start to cross wires energetically. Okay, so let me give you a very, very common example of what this would look like. So, as a business owner, for example, you quite likely use social media as a way to grow your business. And there's nothing wrong with using social media in order to grow your business. But every day, or however often you show up on social media, what is really important is that you are intentional with the energy in which you are showing up, and you are intentional with um, the intention in which you are showing up. So, for example, let's say you are showing up on your Instagram stories or you're doing an IG live, for example. Okay. So you go and you show up on Instagram in some kind of a live capacity. And before you show up, you are in the energy of, "Ugh, I really want to get more people registered into my brand new program. I really need to make more sales. I really need to make more sales so that I can make more money. I really need to make more money so that I can hit my targets." So you can begin to see, number one, from an emotional intelligence perspective, how this creates an emotional spiral. But the other thing that also happens is this creates an energetic entanglement of your frequencies. So all of a sudden, you are taking an action in order to get another result and another result and another result and another outcome. So you begin to tie your actions together. The energy becomes confused and chaotic, and we begin to lose the integrity of the original action or the original choice. And we're going to talk today about how our audience feels it. Okay. So going back to our example of showing up on an IG live, let's say, for example, you right before you hit go live or right before you show up on your social platform, energetically and emotionally, where you're at is you are in a state of, let's say, almost like desperation or panic or worry about how you're going to make the sales or the numbers that you desire to make. Now, here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with having sales goals, there's nothing wrong with having number goals. But where things go wrong is when we mix the energy of showing up for one purpose with the energy of showing up with another purpose. Okay. So it's probably easiest to explain if I just really draw out an example. So you go on to IG Lives, you show up, sorry, IG Live, you show up on IG Live and you start sharing. You start sharing some education, or you start sharing a story, or you start sharing whatever it is. And in the back of your mind, your intention is that you are sharing only in order to sell your offers. You're showing up that day with the intention of getting more people into your offers. And so you've got this energy over here of perhaps serving your audience entangled with the energy of selling your offer. Nothing is wrong with either one of these energies on their own. Where things get murky energetically and where things get murky in your aura is when you sort of bring these energies together rather than separating them and being really clear with your intentions. Okay. So, for example, another example might be we would like X number of clients in our new offer so that we can make X number amount of money. Okay. So, this is another example of where the energy can get entangled. There's nothing wrong with desiring to have a certain number of clients into one of our offers. Where our energy gets murky, where the energy is no longer clean, and where our audience begins to feel it is when clients or people equate money or numbers to us. And we stop seeing our clients, we stop seeing the incredible souls, the incredible beings that come into our world as people that we're actually serving. Okay. So, again, I want to make sure that I'm really clear here. It's not that there's anything wrong with having a goal that is attached to a number, okay, or that's attached to an outcome. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when we are showing up, saying that we're showing up to serve, but we're really showing up to hit this number or this target, number one, it doesn't feel good for us internally. It never feels good for us internally because as we're showing up, we have a split intention. Our intention is split. Our attention is split. Our energy is split. Our focus is split. And that, in my opinion, that reduces the potency of our message. It reduces the potency of our presence. It shifts us energetically in such a huge way that our audience really does begin to feel it, especially over time. Remember, most people within our audience, although this does happen, don't just come into our world and immediately decide to work with us. Although I'm not negating the fact that that can absolutely happen and it does happen, but most people will spend some time in our world. They'll spend some time in our community. They'll spend some time consuming our content, engaging with us, and constantly doing a check on a very intuitive level around whether or not they trust us. And trust is a huge factor when a person decides that they want to work with us, when they decide they want to come into one of our offers, when they decide they want to come deeper into our world and into our community. And so, this energetic output, this energetic aura is critical when it comes to building a business that is sustainable, to building results that are sustainable over the long term, to building a community, a collective that continues to grow over time rather than having those peaks of growth and then no growth over a period of time. So let me just go back to I sort of got off track there, but let me go back to the main concept here. So again, there's nothing wrong with sharing your offers. There's nothing wrong with desiring more clients. The problem is when we take an action, and I believe any action in our business only in order to get a particular result. Okay? This invites an energy of manipulation because the truth is, friends, as hard as it might be to hear this, and as you know, I think particularly in the entrepreneurial space, we are so used to, I'm going to give you this free lead magnet, for example. I'm going to give you this free thing so I can get something from you. Right? So even energetically in there, there is a subtle piece of manipulation in there. I'm going to give you this thing to get something from you. I'm going to give you a free masterclass so I can now sell you my offer. And again, there's nothing wrong with using a freebie in your marketing or in your business. There's nothing wrong with delivering free masterclasses. I deliver free masterclasses all the time. Where I've really learned to shift my perspective on these services, these free services, for example, is energetically, I want to get aligned with the fact that these are opportunities for me to serve my audience. These are opportunities for me to give freely. for me to share my expertise, for me to share my wisdom, for me to share, the particular ways in which I work with, human design and emotional intelligence. These are opportunities for me to share and to serve, period. And I trust that when I show up in that type of energetic alignment and in that type of integrity, that as I grow my audience, naturally, people are going to decide if I am the right coach or mentor for them to work with. I don't share a freebie, for example, or I don't give a free masterclass just so I can hit certain numbers. From both an emotional intelligence perspective and from an energetic perspective, this is where we get into really, really murky water. This massively shifts our energetics. It massively shifts our aura. It hugely impacts the way that we're showing up with our audience. And this is where, when these energies get mixed up, when they sort of get entangled, as I call it, right? This is when our audience really feels it. Your audience feels it when you are doing something just to get something. Your audience feels it. And your audience also feels it when you are serving or when you are sharing or when you are showing up simply with the intention of sharing your expertise. If you desire then to call people into your offer, that's awesome. That's great. You're going to have to do that as a business owner, but then simply name it, right? So what would this look like? What would this look like, let's say, when you're showing up on Instagram, okay? You go onto your Instagram stories and you can absolutely share your expertise. If there's something you want to share with your audience, there's a tip you want to give them, there's something that you tried that's really working for you or really working for your clients, or there's a way you want to explain what it is that you do that is really unique to you and your expertise, do that. But do that with the energetic intention of simply sharing with your audience and simply serving your audience. And then pause, take a breath. This is where the emotional intelligence piece comes in. And then, if you desire to share your offers, if you desire to invite people into working with you, clear the energy of sharing your expertise, your free offer, your whatever it was that you're sharing. Take a breath, clear that energy, and then get into the mindset, get into the space where now I'm going to show up to actually invite people in to work with me. There's nothing wrong with that. But do that with that level of integrity. Do that with that level of respect for your audience. Because here's the thing, like, we want to be calling in smart, intelligent, capable, empowered clients into our world, right? We don't want to be calling in disempowered clients. We don't want to be calling in clients that are vulnerable to manipulation. We don't necessarily want to be calling in people that are going to fall for these manipulative tactics. Right. So if we want to call in aligned clients, we want to speak to them as if they were intelligent, right? Just as, if not more intelligent than we are. And so, if we're going to do that, let's have that level of integrity when we are speaking to them. So, then when you go next time to show up on Instagram stories, and now your intention is to really invite people into an offer, invite them into your community, invite them into your world, invite them to explore working with you, be completely transparent about that. Be completely honest about that. Let them know that you showed up in that particular Instagram story or that particular IG live or that this particular part of the masterclass, and you're going to share with them ways that they can work with you. There's nothing wrong with that. Your audience expects that you will share your offers. Your audience expects that you will share different ways that they can access different levels of content, different levels of integration, different levels of intimacy in working with you. But just be totally transparent about that. Just be totally upfront about what it is that you're doing. And when we do this, what happens is we actually separate the energy of each action that we are taking in our business. Here's the beautiful thing I think about really integrating energetics or human design with emotional intelligence is that it allows us to take action in a very aligned way. So rather than, again, entangling our actions, rather than entangling the energies in which we're showing up, we actually get to separate them. We actually get to serve and to lead our businesses with such a high level of integrity. And not only does it feel so good as the business owner, it also feels really, really good for your audience can trust that when you are sharing something, you are sharing something. When you are inviting people into your offers, you are inviting people into your offers. They can trust your level of transparency. They can trust your level of integrity rather than wondering and feeling if that they are being manipulated by marketing strategies or sales tactics or whatever it is that I think consumers, in all honesty, have become so used to experiencing, particularly in the online space. So, if we are to separate the energy of each action, it looks really simple. You show up on your IG stories, you share your expertise, you share your passion, period. Full stop. That's it. Take a deep breath. Okay. Get into the mindset of now I'm going to be inviting people into my offers. I'm going to invite people into this particular container or this particular program. And you can show up on IG stories again. Let your audience know I want to invite you to work with me. I have a brand new offer that I'm super excited about. Here's what it is. Period. You don't have to tie these things together. And when we tie these things together, this is when our energy gets entangled. This is when our audience begins to feel manipulated. And to be honest, when we look at this from a communication perspective, there isn't a lot of clarity. There isn't a lot of clarity when we are showing up, when we are mixing one intention with another. It's funny, the more I talk about this today, recording this episode for you, the more I'm realizing I really should do one of these for relationships because this absolutely happens in relationships where we say one thing to our partner and we're really wanting our partner to hear another thing, and the energy gets entangled and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. So I will have to do an episode on that one. So instead of entangling our energies, we really want to separate them in order to maintain the integrity of our energetic aura. Because here's the thing is we know with like certainty, the research is so clear on this. When people are deciding whether they like and trust us as a business owner, it's not about what we say, it's not about what we know, it's not about our credentials, the letters behind our name. It's not about any of those things. It's really about who we are. So they are deciding on whether or not they can trust it. They're deciding whether or not they'd like to work with us. They're deciding if they'd like to take that next step with us immediately. They're not listening to the actual content of what we're saying. They are feeling into who we are when we are saying it. So please go out there, share your expertise, do it. The world needs your expertise. The world needs your passion. The world needs your particular niche. Also, go out there and share your offers. Invite people to work with you. Invite people into your offers. Invite people into your world. Absolutely do those things and all of the other things that you'll do inside of your business. What I'm suggesting, though, is that when our energy is clean, rather than when it is entangled, that's when we are really able to attract what we truly desire because we are working, we are operating, we are showing up in a space of true integrity, in a space of true alignment.